Hello and welcome back to the Dugout. This is our European kind of overview episode. Laurie Finlayson was back yesterday, but today it's just back to me and my co-host Ethan Barlow to talk about Scots in Europe. And last week, Ethan was pretty damn good. I think we underestimated, especially the two Conference League teams.
Yeah, definitely. A really exciting week ahead as well. A lot of confidence taken from those three results. Rangers, I think we said were favourites, but would need to perform well. They obviously did in that game at Ibrox. Hibs, we had a slight faith in after the performances against FC Midtjylland over the two legs. They obviously go over to Belgrade and get an excellent result, obviously aided by that first half red card. And then Dundee United, I think the surprise of all three. I really didn't see them going over there and getting anything. Maybe looking at, I didn't get to watch the game unfortunately, but looking at the balance of play, you can maybe say they were lucky to get away with a draw, but they played well and they created their two goals really well,
I
two
wouldn't
really
say
well taken goals.
I wouldn't say lucky. I'd say it was definitely scrappy, but it was a good performance from them. You like holding it down, and they were battling for everything. It was a real fight, and they did manage to get the win. Zachary Sapsford with a really good performance. Obviously, his work for Max Waters' goal and then his finish was really nice as well, catching the goalkeeper off guard. So I wouldn't say lucky, but I get what you're saying. But it was definitely a scrappy, backs to the wall performance, but they managed to get the two each draw, and it's a fantastic result to take back to Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't mean it in that sort of way. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. That when you go to these places as a team like Dundee United against a big European side like Rapid Vienna, then you're going to need to weather a storm, and Dundee United did. But they kept themselves in the game. They bounced back twice, especially when you can see the goal right before half time. Then you work yourself back into the game, you stay composed, and then with 15 minutes to go, Sarsfield gets that massive goal and brilliant celebrations from the travelling United fans as well. So yeah, a really good evening
Our
Thursday.
thoughts, our thoughts go out to the lad that fell down the stairs. We hope he's okay.
Yeah, um, I imagine he had a great time though. So yeah, no, great results. Can
I,
go into the games now a wee bit more
imagine,
depth, but
imagine he didn't feel it until he woke up the next day with like a fractured tailbone or something.
possibly the adrenaline carrying him through.
Like the adrenaline and the pints. Please drink responsibly. But anyway, yeah, no, but I feel like we've just kind of naturally gone into it, so it's a really good place to start on Dundee United, and we've maybe been a bit down on them, but we're really open to them to keep proving us wrong. We keep talking about how though it's a great result, right? But you know, Rapid Vienna are a good football team. We did see that in the game. They did have chances that they were maybe not the best at taking. We did see some quality from them, especially from Dal and their skipper. His name escapes me, but he scored a goal and he had a few opportunities like that. And there was a few sort of defensive errors. I think Yevgeny Kucherenko was let off with that goal that got chopped off for offside because that was poor goalkeeping from him. He probably should have got down to it. So there is definitely still a danger because this is a good side coming to Tannadice.
Yeah, I think the captain Mate Seidel was it that got the
Yeah,
second goal.
that's the one.
Yeah, the both goals I think Dundee United will be slightly disappointed with. They probably could have defended both of them better. I think it was Bendigo's Boa or Bola, the right back, almost a right winger at times. The Hungarian international, I think, played against Scotland at the Euros when they unfortunately beat us. His cross was sort of massive for both of the goals, and Dow, as you said, looks like a real threat. I think he's got 4 goals already this season. 21-year-old Norwegian, the new signing from KV Mechelen in Belgium. So yeah, they carry a lot of threat, obviously, Rapid Vienna, and we did expect that. I thought Ayuri Yovu could have done better with the first goal, and then the second goal, although it's unfortunate the way it kind of falls back after Dundee United defend the initial ball and well, there is no one near Mate Seidel for the whole move. You can see he's just in that pocket in between the defence and midfield, and no one's near him, and it's a really easy goal to take. He takes his touch and then finishes it in.
Yeah, can I ask you something? You mentioned Yovu there. Maybe he could have done a bit better. He's not had the best last couple of games. He obviously brought brought Stuart Findlay down rather oddly in the box for a penalty to Hearts at the weekend, as Hearts did win at Tannadice 3-2. Do you think he's one that might drop out the team, or do you think Jim Goodwin will stick with him?
I think Jim Goodwin, I think he'll stick with him. He's kind of kept the back four a constant for the most part across the season. So I think possibly he keeps him in. I haven't been able to catch all of the United games that I've seen. The bits of the Falkirk game was the one I've seen especially. Um,
They,
and
they seem to have an issue with, cutbacks, uh, loose balls breaking across the box.
yeah, that does seem to be a problem, and they've got to sort of stamp that out. I don't know if it's a midfield issue or a defensive issue. It's one of those ones that you can't really tell unless you're in the starting 11, and I'm sure Jim Goodwin will be able to identify where that issue is. If it's the defenders not picking up runners, or it's the midfielders not picking up their men that are arriving late to the box, but they'll need to address it because the two goals were really poor. And when you're playing against top quality opposition like Rapid Vienna are, then you don't want to be giving up goals that easy. Although they did defend well for almost the rest of the game to obviously only concede the two and take a really big result back to Tannadice, because this is a team that Rapid Vienna looked at their start to the season, 2 wins from two in the Austrian Bundesliga, and they beat the champions Sturm Graz on their own patch 2-1 at the weekend. So that kind of shows what you're going up against, possibly Champions League level opposition that Rapid Vienna have turned over at the weekend. So I think I said it last week that if Dundee United have a real go and go toe to toe with Rapid Vienna and go out, it'll be no shame on that. And so far they have done, but hopefully they can pull another memorable result out of the bag and give themselves a real chance to make Europe this season.
Yeah, and if they do manage to do that, they will go on to face AIK of Sweden or Griol of Hungary. The first leg seemed pretty hotly contested, a 2-1 away victory for AIK, so obviously they go back to Stockholm.
I think it was a 2-1 home victory.
Apologies, a 2-1 home victory. So they go away to Hungary with the win to hold on to. So it could go either way, but it seems across the two ties fairly sort of evenly matched in terms of scorelines at least. So it could be interesting, and hopefully we see Dundee United in Europe. Moving on to their Conference League counterparts, Hibernian, we mentioned, massive victory. I think Dundee United was the most surprising, but this one was definitely surprising as well. I backed them to maybe get a result. Obviously, the red card helped, but I didn't expect them to come away from Belgrade with a 2-0 lead.
No, definitely not. It's an excellent result, as you said. 2-0 away from home. You're bringing it back to Easter Road, and you just need to hold on to that 2-goal advantage. David Gray will obviously not be telling his players to think that way. They want to sort of kick on and open that gap up even wider. But no, Partizan Belgrade, another big team like Rapid Vienna across Europe, and a massive result for Hibs to go over there and really get a statement win in a hostile atmosphere, as we mentioned before.
Martin Boyle provoking some of the craziest fans in Europe. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it was quite good. I watched the highlights back and I seen that he's cupping his ears after the first goal, and you could see there was lasers shining on the Hibs player celebrating. Um, that's the lengths that some of these teams supporters in Europe go to with lasers for shining in players' eyes for penalties. I didn't see if there was one when he was stepping up to take his penalty, but he obviously made no error with that. Anyway, 100 goals for Martin Boyle at Hibs as well. His 100th and 101st, a ridiculous achievement from him, and what a servant he's been to Hibs over his multiple spells in Edinburgh.
Yeah, definitely. And the first goal was a really, really nice finish. Just, comes over the top of him, catches it really, really well, smashes it into the net. And that was really good. And even before the red card, though, Hibs had chances, they had opportunities. Although he didn't score, I was really impressed with Kieran Bowie again. Hibs's record signing might have a real struggle trying to get into the team over this kid.
Yeah, I think he only Cludgy, is it?
Yeah, Thibaut Clige, I think.
Yeah. I think he only came on in like the 90th minute of the weekend against Kilmarnock, so I don't know what's going on there. He's really struggling to get any minutes at all. I don't know if it's getting him up to speed or whatever, but Kieran Bowie's been absolutely brilliant so far. So yeah, he sort of provided the two main problems for Partizan Belgrade, and the fact that he obviously gets the second yellow card for Vukasan Durdovic, the defender. I think he'll feel really hard done by. It is quite soft, but Hibs won't complain. I'm not complaining. And then again, I thought the penalty was quite soft as well. But you can't complain with these decisions. Sometimes they go for you, sometimes they go against you. And they went for Hibs on the night, and Hibs deserved, made their own luck, and obviously took advantage of both of them, getting the goal right after the red card, and then converting the penalty as well. And they put themselves in a real excellent position to see this out now. Obviously, there'll be doubt in the back of the minds after that blowing that 2-0 lead at the weekend at home to Kilmarnock. But I'm sure that they'll be in the right mental space to hopefully see this one through, and it'll be an excellent result and give them massive confidence going into the playoff round.
And if they do progress to the playoff round, they will face Legia Warsaw or Larnaca. Warsaw of Poland, Larnaca of Cyprus. However, it's looking likely that they will play the Cypriots after they trounced the Polish team 4-1.
Yeah, I think Legia Warsaw have sort of in the European pedigree's fallen off a cliff a little bit. I remember when they got to the Champions League, obviously, I think they had a few ties against Celtic almost, well, maybe over a decade ago now in Champions League qualifying, but I don't think they've won the league in 4 years or something like that. So, yeah, it looks like it will be Larnaca, and if Hibs can, I'm looking at it on paper, if Hibs can go toe to toe with FC Midtjylland and possibly beat Partizan Belgrade, there's no reason why they can't take confidence into a tie like that.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to the third and final match of the week. Obviously, it takes place tonight as we're recording this. Rangers travelling over to Pilsen, home of the Pilsner, taking on Victoria Pilsen in the Czech Republic. They have a 3-0 lead to sit on, and quite frankly, I'm thanking my lucky stars for that even more after the weekend's performance.
Yeah, it was back to square one as we touched on yesterday for Rangers. Positive results in Europe as we've seen this season, as we've seen over the last, I don't know, 5 seasons maybe. It's just same old with Rangers. Can't do it domestically, but on a European front, very strong as always. And you would fancy Rangers to go over there to the Czech Republic and get a result tonight. Even after that performance at the weekend, and Victoria Pilsen didn't look great on the night at Ibrox. They haven't looked great in the league. Just one win from their 3 league games. They drew one each at home to FC Slovakia at the weekend. So yeah, I think I fancy Rangers to go over there and add to their lead. It'll be the really interesting thing will obviously be to see what Russell Martin does with the starting 11 because I imagine he wouldn't have been happy with the performance at the weekend after he kept the same team that performed really well last Tuesday at home to Victoria Pilsen. So yeah, it will be interesting to see who lines up and yeah, but I'd fancy Rangers to do a job on Victoria Pilsen like they did in the first leg.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just feel like for some, it's still the thing with this team. They will perform in Europe. I don't think it'll be another 3-0, but I'd still possibly back Rangers to get away with a win or at least a draw. I can't see them losing to this side, and I definitely can't see them, blowing the lead. And if they do progress, they will face RB Salzburg or Club Bruges. Very difficult tie either way. Club Bruges getting the 1-0 victory over in Austria. They take it back to Belgium to try and get through. And Ethan, this will definitely be the toughest test that Rangers have faced this season, uh, whether uh, whether it's either team that they play.
Yeah, definitely. It's a step up, and Rangers will need to find that form from the first leg against Victoria Pilsen and maybe even more because these are two top sides. I think, as I've touched on, I think Salzburg have qualified in six of the last seven, or maybe six of the last six, and Club Brugge are six of the last seven group stages or league phases. So they're sort of Champions League regulars now. And from the first leg, looking at it, it looks like Salzburg were really quite unlucky not to score. So despite Club Brugge obviously getting that winner in Austria, that Salzburg will still have confidence. I think they won 5-0 at the weekend as well. And Club Brugge won the derby against Cercle, which Kilmarnock obviously know very well from last season. So that one could still go either way, and I think Rangers will have a tough task on their hands either way. But it's not something Rangers haven't done in the past. So if they can get another good result tonight, I'm sure they can take confidence regardless of what happens in between then and now domestically.
Yeah.
Well, the only domestic game in between then and now is obviously Alloa at the weekend in the Premier Sports Cup.
And I believe if Rangers and Hibs do progress, they're going to exercise their right to postpone one domestic match. So it will be St Mirren for Rangers. I can't think of the Hibs one off the top of my head. But those games, I think, will be postponed if they progress to the playoff round. Okay, so
Yep.
moving on to our other two teams that will enter into that round, Aberdeen and Celtic. So first, we'll start with Aberdeen. They will play Drita or FCSB. FCSB lead Drita 3-2 going into this game. A lot closer than I suspected this tie would be, Ethan.
Yeah, and I think we all sort of picked out FCSB after their Europa League exploits last season. I know they were poor at Ibrox, but they done well in the competition as a whole. But they were 2-0 down to FC Drita looking at it now and clawed back a lead to take over to Montenegro. I think, is it Montenegro? I
Is
don't
it
know actually. I
football
don't think it is Montenegro.
on them? You
Uh,
keep talking and I'll find it.
I thought it was Montenegro, but it's not showing up map, and I think a Montenegrin team probably would.
Kosovo.
Kosovo, yes, I remember now. Yeah, so you would fancy
You
FCSB. We
can't be
did fancy.
you can't be getting Montenegro confused with Kosovo, mate. You'll be getting death threats.
Yeah, I know, I know. Apologies to anyone that might be viewing that might be offended by that. I do apologise. But for FCSB, they've looked really poor this season. They've in the league, certainly in the Romanian league, they're sitting 12th of 16. They've won one of the opening five games. They've lost, apart from that win against Rita last week, they've won just one of the last 6 games. They went out to KF Scandija in the last round of Champions League qualification, and in the round before that, they lost to Interclub de Escaldes away from home. They did win on aggregate, but that's a sort of result you would compare to a sort of Rangers in Luxembourg against Progress Niederkorn, or Celtic and Gibraltar against Lincoln Red Imps. It's that sort of upset. So FCSB not in the best form. If Aberdeen can find any form, which they seem to be struggling with as well at the moment, then they can go into that game with confidence. But it's still obviously going to be difficult. They're a quality team. But yeah, if Aberdeen can find some sort of confidence to take into the tie, then they've definitely got a chance.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, moving on to Celtic's potential opponents. It is Slovan Bratislava. Obviously, they played them last season in the Champions League phase. Absolutely battered them.
Well, Kairat Almaty are leading just now, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm moving on. Going on to them.
Okay.
I was just giving a bit of background
Right,
on
okay.
battered them last season, or Kairat Almaty, the Kazakhstani champions, currently leading the Kazakhstani Premier League. See, I've done my research. They lead they now I've lost my train of thought. They lead the tie 1-0, going over to Bratislava's home patch. And the question is whether the Vices can turn it around.
Yes, that is the question. Obviously, Celtic very familiar with that Slovan Bratislava squad after last season, as you mentioned. But they're also very familiar with Kazakhstani champions, because the last 3 times that Celtic have progressed to the Champions League through Champions League qualifiers, or the last twice, yeah, the last 3 times, sorry, we've met Kazakhstani champions, FC Astana and Shakhtar Karagandhi, which I think was over a decade ago now. So it seems like they're always getting paired against the Kazakhstani champions, or the champions of Kazakhstan. And Kairat Almaty lead, I didn't really see that one coming. I think Slovan Bratislava probably went into that tie as favourites, and I think Celtic will possibly want Slovan Bratislava to win that match, because if Kairat Almaty go through over the 2 legs, then Celtic will need to travel further than they would to go to Pakistan to play that away leg right before they head to Ibrox in the league. So it's not the best preparation for the opening derby of the season. So I think it'll be a difficult
Where
tie
did you say they would go?
further than Pakistan.
Uh, are the games not next week and the following week? Oh, it would be before.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. The away legs the days before the Celtic Rangers game,
Yeah.
and
Sorry,
where Kai.
I got my dates mixed up there. I apologise.
No, it's fine. And where Kairat's located in Kazakhstan, it's further away than where Pakistan is. So I think that puts into perspective the sort of travel that Celtic would need to do. And I think a lot of Celtic fans have made the point about bringing new players in to obviously support that squad before they play this massive playoff game. But I think whatever players you get, it's not going to be easy to go over there and get a result. So there'll be a lot on Celtic to get a really good result in the first leg at Celtic Park.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, that's kind of it for sort of review of the European fixtures. And to leave off, I think we're going to have some second leg predictions. We'll start on Rangers. Ethan, what are you saying for the Teddy Bears?
I'm going to say another one for Rangers, not as convincing. I'll go for a 2-1 win to Rangers on the night, and 5-1 on aggregate.
Okay, okay. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win to Rangers on the night. I'm just not, I still want to back my team to win, but I'm just not as convinced. So, I'll keep it at that. Okay, Dundee United taking on Rapid Vienna.
I think I'm going to go for 1-1 and Dundee United to scrape through in penalties for a memorable result.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna go for another high scoring affair. I'm gonna go with 3-2 to the Arabs. Uh,
Take that, take
I
that.
just think looking at Rapid Vienna's last few games, um, they do concede goals, but they also score. But obviously Dundee United have had a few high scoring fixtures, so I think it's all making up for that. And this time I'm going to back them. And then Hibs hosting Partizan Belgrade at Easter Road.
I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to the High Bees. So, yeah, Hibs to go through on the win on the night and a comfortable win on aggregate.
I'm going to go with a repeat result of last week. I'm going to go with 2-0 to Hibs, 4-0 in aggregate, and they go through to the playoff round. And then hopefully we'll have 5 Scottish teams vying for a place in the league phase. And if they all make it, that would be fantastic. We've spoken about it the last few times, but it really would be great. But yeah, that I think that'll do it for today's sort of European overview. Thank you to Ethan. Thank you to all of you for watching and listening. Make sure to go and check out the Twitter at the Dugout 2024. Check out the TikTok at the Dugout.
Spotify.
Huh?
Go and check us out. We're on now on Spotify. Yesterday and
Big news,
yesterday.
big reveal. We are now on Spotify. Make sure to go check that out. I didn't even know that. What's
Yeah.
going on with here?
Yeah. Yesterday's episode's on Spotify, and this episode will be on Spotify as well. So,
Is it
from now on,
the Dugout on Spotify?
yeah, just the Dugout podcast on Spotify.
So if you don't
Go and
want
give it a listen and rate us 5 stars, please.
Yeah, and if you don't want to look at our stupid faces, just tune in on Spotify. I'll put the link in the description to that. Make sure to check all that out. Thank you and goodbye.